guys, got a quick one for you. I am replacing the air conditioning evaporator in this square body. All you have to do is take this side of the casing off the AC box, heater box, and on the firewall there's two, one up top, one on bottom, and there's two on every side to split the case. So here's your part number, and it comes in a flat roll like this. What I did was cut it long ways down the middle, and then I rolled that up, and that's what I used in here where it meets the firewall, because if you'll see there's a little channel in there. So I just kind of rolled around B to that and went around that channel, and then I took it in flat form where the two halves of the heater box go together, and then I added a little bit extra around where these lines come through, but where it would still look decent on the outside. And you can make it real nice and neat after you have it together. But so there's nothing that I can find that really holds this in, so you just make sure it's centered over the hole in there. I went ahead and put this around the lines to kind of hold it in place till I get the other half on. So that's my first time on a square body, and we'll see how it works. I'll get back at it after. See you then. And we're back. I wanted to show you guys the 4L60 square body shift linkage scenario. So on the 4L60 there was a bolt-on lever with a ball that the shifter cable snapped onto, and I removed the nut, pulled that off, took one off an old GM transmission, and bolted it right on the side of here. I didn't even have to move the bracket or the frame bracket or anything else for that matter. I did borrow this shift portion off a 91 with a 4L80 Suburban. Sorry, Alan, but it works really great. I think the exhaust may be somewhat of an issue, but if I can get the headers to fit, then the rest of it is the exhaust shop's problem, I guess. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But anyway, the stock column shifter is what we used, so I'll jump back up top and operate it for you a couple times so you can see. It's pretty smooth. Like I said, this was a $700 Ford truck, so it already has the overdrive on the shifter display, but I got to get the little needle fixed in there so it actually says what gear it's in, for those people who don't like to count the clicks. So until next time, that's all I have for you. We will probably install the fuel tank next on another Burb Files. See you guys later. Burb Files. Back on the K10. We're going to slide under and show you guys a couple things under here that might help you with your swap if you're doing one. So I did not find much in the way of cross members or engine mounts or anything as a swap kit for a four-wheel drive. So I just kind of go along and try and figure it out. So the 700 R4 that came in this is very similar to a 4L60, very, very similar in length and the way they bolt up and everything. So I just thought I'd slide under here and show you guys. This is a 4L60 on the back of the 5.3. Those engine mounts were adjustable. I have it slid rearward as far as they can, which is supposed to put it in the stock location of the small block. So this was the same length as the 700 R4, and believe it or not, the factory truck mount lined right up with this factory crossmember from the truck. I mean, bolt holes and everything, just because they're so similar. So I use a factory crossmember. I had to oval out the holes in the crossmember just a little bit to get it to fit, but it was so close. I kind of was amazed by how it worked out. So this is the factory 208C transfer case that came in the truck, but GM in its wisdom kept the same bolt pattern on the transmission and the same spline count and size input shaft. So it's back in its home, original home, which is great. Made it super easy. So here's the transfer case shift linkage. I had to clean up the adjustment rod a little bit, but and adjust the rod just a little bit, but it's got the factory floor shifter that's hooked up just like it was when it had the small block in it. And there's a view that I used the trans fluid dipstick, and it's got pretty decent clearance to the firewall. And when I get back on the other side, I will continue. So we are back on the 86K10. I'm just going to do a little recap on what we've done so far, just as a little catch up. So we replaced the blower motor with the original impeller fan on it. We did the evap core. I showed you the asphalt kind of based pliable stuff that you seal the box up with. I did use RTV, a black RTV in a few spots to seal the box to the firewall a little better. So on the blower motor, that's a part number for you that I used. Evap core, you can find that, and it's kind of option specific, so go find your own. I need to do a heater core. I got a new one in the bed, so we'll put that in. I'll make a video on that too, I'm sure. So what else? We did there's the part number again on the asphalt tape, the dummy tape, putty tape, whatever, this stuff. Also, we did the throttle cable. So this is a 2001 truck, full-size truck, throttle cable. Same thing the motor's from, and it worked pretty good. I had to modify some stuff a little bit, but no big deal. The throttle cable bracket, I had to slot the bracket holes and use that to adjust to get the tension on the cable between the firewall and here. I just set it nice and tight without it actually being open at all, not too tight. And then here's the part number on the throttle cable. So then we'll go to the inside of the truck, and I'll show you what we had to do on the passenger compartment side. So it hooks in the exact same way that the one from the 86 did. I just had to bend the throttle pedal bracket, the top of it, forward until it got me some good tautnicity. So yeah, so it's nice and tight, and it's got a great pedal. We'll go ahead and demonstrate. I'm sure that quality of video is terrible, but you get the idea. So the throttle cable's done. It was a good one to use versus trying to get a universal deal. So that's good. I think that's as far as I've gotten. I'll kind of cover the engine mounts that I used, though. So I walk on some bubble wrap. So I actually got 2 sets of engine mounts. The lower set was from eBay. They were like 55 or 54 bucks, and they bolt to the LS. They bolt to the LS and replace the small block Chevy clamshell, which I kind of liked, and that's what I was going to use alone. And I got this other set, the aluminum set that you see, that's just a shim at this point. Was about $33 on eBay. So I got about $85 in these. Originally I was going to just use the ones that replace the clamshell, but it put the motor too close to the crossmember and the timing cover too close to the crossmember. So it's still a little bit close now, but the bolts are loose and I need to shift it to the side just a little bit. I got clearance for days on this side. Clearance for days, but this side's a little close, and the motor is fairly centered at this point. So it did put me too close originally, so I had these aluminum ones that I used as shims, or as spacers rather, and it works. I don't know if I'd use this setup again or try a different one, but this will work for this set, and 85 is around what you'd spend on a specific set of mounts anyway. So the aluminum ones were to bolt the original clamshells from a small block Chevy to the LS block, and I had bought a set of those before and didn't really like the way they worked, but I got another set just because they were dirt cheap. So that's the first 4-wheel drive. One of these I've put an LS in, so this is kind of learn as I go. So this is a coolant temp sensor from a 98 Camaro, which is a 3-wire, and a stolen plug off one of the harnesses I had. And it will allow you to hook the 2 up to the computer that you need to, and then the third one is for the coolant temp gauge in the truck, and it should run the factory gauge that way. Down there I have the original style oil pressure sender screwed into a block off plate that covers where an oil cooler would be from the factory, but they put those block offs when they didn't use the oil cooler. I just had to drill and tap it, so I can use the factory gauge with that too. The speedo in the truck, because it's a 4-wheel drive, goes to the output of the transfer case, so I can use it, as you'll see in another video. But that's a quick recap of what I've done since I've been gone, and we'll get back at you next time with some more progress. See you guys.